Alright, there are a few more kind of strange things that can happen, so I want to make sure and go over those with you also. Looking at this first problem, we have negative x squared plus 12x minus 11. Now the problem here with this one is because our leading term there is negative. That's not really very good. It's much more difficult to factor whenever you have a negative there. So let's factor it out. Let's factor out a negative 1 before we get started. Negative 1 times x squared would give us negative x squared. Negative 1 times negative 12x would give us positive 12x. And negative 1 times positive 11 would be 11. Basically, when you factor out a negative, all you're doing is changing the signs. Okay, now, just like we did earlier, let's hold on to that negative 1 for just a minute, and let's focus in on the trinomial and see if we can factor that down more. There's not a GCF left in there. 3 terms, so we factor by trial and error. Okay, x times x would give us x squared. This sign tells us that these are the same. This sign tells us that they are both negative. And our only choices for 11 are 1 times 11. Now let's make sure we get the middle term. Negative 1x and negative 11x is negative 12x. So that's the way that this factors. Now we can put the negative 1 on the outside, or we can just simply put the negative on the outside. It is the exact same thing. Alright, this next one I want to factor because it looks really scary to begin with. We have 5x cubed y minus 25x squared y squared minus 120xy cubed. First rule of factoring, GCF always. So we see that in each one of these terms that they have a common 5. They also all have x's in them. They also all have y's in them. So our GCF here is 5xy. Now let's see what we have left when we factor that out. 5xy times x squared will give us the first term. 5xy times negative 5xy would give us the second term. And 5xy times negative 24y squared would give us our third term. Now, even though this looks weird, let's do the same procedure, focusing on the procedure instead of it doesn't look exactly like the others have looked. Focus on the procedure. We took out the GCF. Now we have 3 terms, so let's do trial and error. X times x is x squared. The last sign says that these are different. So one is positive, one is negative. When we break up the y squared, that would break up into y times y. So this is not so bad, really, just to have a variable in the end. We treat it just like we do in the beginning. Now we have to think about our 24. Think of factors of 24. So 2 things that would multiply together to get 24, and somehow you want that combination to be a 5. Well, the first thing that pops into my mind is 3 times 8, because 3 times 8 is 24, but also if you subtract those numbers you get a 5. So let's see. That would happen if the 8 was negative and the 3 was positive. Now don't forget to bring down your factored out GCF. Now for the last one, really quickly, here again we have 3 terms, no GCF. R times R is R squared. For our signs, this sign tells us that they are both going to be the same. This one says they're both going to be negative. As far as a 6, the only factors of 6 are 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. Neither one of those combinations will give us a 3. So